Welcome back everyone. Today we'll be talking about the animation player inside of Godot. So we simply have a scene set up here with a basic sprite 2D, and then we can go ahead and move the different parts of a sprite 2D in this case, like the position, rotation, or anything else. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So first up, we'll have to add an animation player into our scene. Then we can go ahead and come to the bottom here on animation and we click on new. Now in here you just name your animation what you want. For example, we'll do walk, but you can obviously change the name yourself and choose it. Then you can go ahead and add a property track. And now when you click on the sprite 2D, for example, you can see that it has a lot of different types of properties you can use. In our example, we'll go ahead and change the position. So we just click open and then we have the position in here. And then now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and add some keyframes. So we can go ahead and insert key at the start. Make sure you move it to the start. And then, for example, we move the sprite 2D to the right a little bit. And for example, we want to have it be for 1 second or something. So you were to move it over here, you first have to select this and go here or wherever you want it. And then you just move your sprite. And then we want to add another key right here. So what this will do is when we go back to the start, we can go ahead and play this and we can see that it'll walk to the right in this case. Now you can do the same for different types of properties like rotation or flipping a frame. So let's just do one more example. We will go ahead and just use a rotation. So for example, if you want to have this in the same animation as we have done right now, this is all still in the walk animation, we can go ahead and add another key here. And then, for example, we want to go right over here and we add a different key, but first we'll have to rotate it. So say we want to rotate it this way, we add another key here, and then we can also see that while this animation is going to be playing, we also have a bit of a rotation going. As you can see right there, it moved a little bit to the left. So also with a more useful use case, I would think, is that you want to have something fade out. So what you could then do, for example, is add a property track on your sprite 2D that basically just changes the opacity to 0. So for this, we use modulate inside of Godot. So as we can see here, this applies it to a canvas item, so we don't want this one. We want to go ahead and use the self-modulate, which applies it to just a child and not necessarily one element. So for this, we can also just add another key. And then what we can do is once we are at the end of our frame here, we can go ahead and change this to be inserting another key. And for example, the value could be 0 over here. So what we will see now is that it will slowly fade out as the animation continues. You see, it just fades out. Now you could obviously speed this up if you wanted by just moving the keyframe so that it goes faster, and that applies for every single thing, of course. I accidentally changed the rotation as well, but that doesn't matter. You can see it just fades out, and that would be something that could be quite useful inside of your game. So some useful features besides just adding properties is that you can also loop it. So over here on the right, we have this animation length in seconds, which you could also change to just change the duration. So if, for example, we do 2, we can see that we can now go over to 2 here instead of 1 at the beginning. So that's one useful feature. We'll just leave it at 1 for now. Then we also have looping. So this pretty much does what it says. Once the animation is done playing, it just goes back to the loop and it just simply goes to the start again and just plays this until the game runs out. Then another thing we could do is change this to be going to the left and right in this case. So we can see it just goes to the end, and once it's at the end, it'll go back to the start instead of fully resetting. We'll disable that for now. Then inside of the animation player, we could also go ahead and change some speed scale variables and all sorts of other properties that can be changed. But I guess the most important ones would be the speed scale. So for instance, if you change this to 0.2, we will see that the animation plays very slowly, but we could also speed it up, of course, and then it goes faster. So now let's take a look at how we can use some scripting to play with some of these values inside of the animation player, for instance, the speed scale. We simply want to just attach a script, and in here we could go ahead and test some parts out. So for example, the speed scale is something we can access inside of our code. So if we want to change this to 0.2, for example, we could do so. And also if we want to play an animation, we can simply call play and then the name of our animation. In this case, it's going to be walk. So what this will do is it will just go ahead and run the walk animation as we start the game. So as we can see here, it plays that at a speed of 0.2. Now another thing we could do is also add some signals that when the animation is done playing, for example, we just go ahead and do something. To do this, we can simply go over to Node, Signals, and then in here there are a whole bunch of different signals we can use to animate, to call when something is done. In this case, for example, there's the animation finished. So if we just double click this, we add it to the animation player and we connect. We will see now that if we print something, for example, done animating, we will see that once the animation is finished, it'll print it inside of the debugger here. There we go. We can see now that the animation was done playing and we see done animating. So in here we could do something like triggering some different type of scene or something. I don't know what you want to use the animations for, but that would be something you would do in here once the animation is finished. But there are also different types of signals you could use. For instance, the started, or if the animation changed. There's a whole bunch of things you could change there. So for example, in the finished, we could just go ahead and play the animation again, or we could trigger another scene. It just totally depends on your implementation about this game that you are making. So this was just a very quick tutorial through the animation player. I've teach you the basics now, and I think you could go ahead and implement it yourself. If there are any questions, just let me know in the comments or join my Discord, where we have a community of fellow Godot developers that would love to help you out, I'm sure. If you like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.